Good morning, XRP holders. Welcome to the show. Did you know that if you take a hard-boiled egg, aggressively roll it around on a plate, you can actually peel the thing all in one go easily? I don't know. Just saw that on TikTok today. Try it out. Let me know if it works. Guys, welcome to the show. Ripple, UAE, IMF connections are there. Ripple has invested in more than 50 companies and invested over $500 million into XRP utility. More stuff on the FTX update and the SEC. A little bit of a conspiracy going on that SEC was responsible for pumping the FTT and Ethereum token at the same time. Guys, let's get into it. And also, there's one country where there's some big stuff going on right now. I don't want to say it in the first minute of the video. I don't want to trigger any of YouTube's little AI crawling, but yeah, there's a certain country right now where some very, very big things are changing. Big things are going on. YouTube does not necessarily like it. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. XRP price on the daily chart getting the aggressive bounce off of the local demand zone. Next few days, next week here, we're looking to reclaim the gaps and get to that 50-cent XRP. All right, guys. First one of today. Ripple has invested in over 60 companies across the crypto landscape and close to $500 million. Give this video clip a watch.
Holding back crypto at large is tribalism. I mean, Ripple has invested in over 60 companies. We've invested hundreds of millions of dollars, close to $500 million, in about 60 different companies across the crypto landscape. Some of them are involved with XRP, some of them aren't. I truly believe all boats can rise, and I think the whole industry, frankly, needs to stop taking shots at each other and try to support each other and try to actually help people be successful.
So that is the man himself, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, and he's just, I gotta say, always correct. Not saying he's a perfect man, got a perfect beard, but he's right. He honestly is right, but the problem from my personal standpoint is it's too easy to take shots. As an XRP holder, it's really easy to take shots at Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's like punching down. And then for Bitcoin and Ethereum holders, they, in their own mind and their own dilemma, they think they're punching down at XRP when they're taking shots. So, tribalism is truly a problem to the greater crypto landscape. But since we're in the early Wild West days, you can't tell me we're not in the Wild West days. I mean, we're definitely progressing. We're getting further. Ripple XRP becoming more sophisticated. I don't know if I can say the whole space has become more sophisticated, but Ripple and XRP is very, very sophisticated. That is only continuing to grow as Ripple has been bringing up the central bank CBDC digital currency talk over the last year. And if you guys check out the last video from today, go to around like the 8 or 9 minute mark, I think, you could see a Ripple advertisement, and they are talking about, is a literal page in the Wall Street Journal, and they mention in the Ripple paid advertisement, the space they take up on that page, they do mention the central bank digital currencies. Quite interesting, isn't that? To add on to that even more, got to see this. United Arab Emirates loves digital assets. There is Christine Lagarde, former head of the IMF, currently head of the European Central Bank. Don't know exactly who this guy is here. I want to say this was the Bank of England leader. I can't remember his name exactly, but chime in down in the comments below. Who is that right there? Not exactly sure, but never forget, UAE loves digital assets. Christine Lagarde, Brad Garlinghouse, sometime in 2018, 2019. There's Christine Lagarde right there, and he's standing in that same group. Can you imagine that? A crypto tech startup somehow manages to get its way into the IMF. It's almost as if Ripple has a community of the largest banks in the world helping to steer the company in the right direction. Oh, that is a thing called the RippleNet community. The largest private bank in the world, Mitsubishi Bank of Tokyo, the MUFJ Mitsubishi Financial Group, and Bank of America are steering that association. It's very, very funny how 4 years ago, just some little crypto startup that's supposedly a centralized scam gets its way into an IMF meetup, which is the central bank of central banks, if you didn't know. Obviously, you guys do know. But Ripple UAE, and check this out just on a quick Google search here just to prove my point. Ripple partner JP Morgan joined forces in the UAE. things from a long time ago. Ripple continues overseas expansion with Tranglo to UAE. Ripple partners with UAE Bank for cross-border payments. Quite interesting how that works, huh? Let's get to the next one here, guys. But one thing I want to touch on real quick with this Brad Garlinghouse, I kind of skipped through this one a little bit just because I was really excited to get to this one with you guys. Yeah, Brad's really right here. You know, the tribalism, it's for sure an issue in crypto, and I couldn't tell you the solution to solve it. You know, taking shots at each other, throwing punches back and forth. It's kind of tough. It is honestly kind of tough. It's like almost like beef between countries. They just keep taking shots back and forth, and it just progressively continues to snowball into more shots being taken back and forth. So, I mean, as an XRP holder, as a diehard XRP holder with just 0.027 Bitcoin, so I have little speculative bags. I do think Bitcoin's a little too cheap just for the general mindset of the market. I'm not saying Bitcoin's an absolute deal at these prices, but I am believing that the general market is believing that Bitcoin is currently at these, quote unquote deal prices. So, Brad's definitely right here. I'm pretty sure this is not breaking news, but this is from a few months ago. But nice to know that Ripple is investing deeply into space, 60 companies, $500 million. That really tells you what their cash stack is looking like over the Ripple company. Cannot wait for the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit to be over, and Ripple gets that public IPO on the stock market, which will quite figuratively be like taking the Ripple company and then throwing a twin turbo setup on that with some air intakes and some injectors. You know what I mean? It's like Ripple right now is great, amazing, moving in the right direction. XRP usage, on-demand liquidity, up a 9x year over year as of Q2 2022. But Ripple going public, I feel like will be the twin turbocharger, will be the supercharger for the inline 6 engine we are running right now. So that's the biggest thing with Ripple versus SEC lawsuit. As you guys know, beginning of the end, Ripple said it themselves, made their final submissions. We are just waiting for a decision to be made. And honestly, it's not a bad thing that the SEC has been constantly throwing punches at the judge, being very rude, filing briefs hours before the due date with one-line responses, which is very disrespectful in the court of law, by the way, as stated by Jeremy Hogan. But, guys, we're all moving in the right direction here. We are just waiting for the XRP price to pick up the slack, and the only reason it's slacking is because it's being suppressed by the rest of the market, and the SEC's choosing favorites, not to mention. And by the way, that news of Ripple versus SEC case being over, I tell you what, that's going to be like a 20-30% pump on that day. Christmas is coming up. Ripple versus SEC lawsuit over on Christmas. Nah, that would be too good. Probably early January, I imagine a decision will be made. Not to mention Flare airdrop coming up. XRP holders getting a little stimulus check that we signed up for like 2 years ago and has been delayed like 4 or 5 times. So that's a whole other video to talk about, when the Flare airdrop is just days away. But going to sell the FLR airdrop, take the cash on launch day, or hold for the long term. Next one here, guys. SBF is getting just very, very weird. This is coming from the, famous Rand Nooner. This was like the OG mainstream media attacking XRP guy, if you didn't know. And then like later on, a few months later, he's like, okay, yeah, XRP is good. Then he went back to hating on XRP when the price went down. This is what Rand Nooner says as a solution to FTX. And SBF actually responds, which is mind-blowing. But this comes from Parikh Patel, CFA. Although it might look like a very official Twitter account, it's a very satirical finance account. Definitely, I would give it a follow. So SBF wants to sell more tokens created out of thin air to repay creditors and depositors. And then once depositors have left the platform, what happens to token holders? This is literally just selling equity in something worthless without even selling equity. Again, like I've mentioned many times in the beginning of this video, so easy to take shots because the cryptocurrency space is very, very infantile is a word. English is crazy. Infantile thinking, very, very childlike thinking in the cryptocurrency space. I mean, you got a point where Will Smith slaps Chris Rock and a token comes out the next hour called Will Smith Inu and it goes up 800%. I mean, this space is a very, very immature place. Ripple XRP, different story. But, going on that train of thought, When I meet people and they say, I don't like crypto, I don't want to invest into it, I think it's scammy, I don't blame them. I do not blame them because there is such a level of immaturity in this space that Ripple is kind of, being on top of and away from, because it's still such an immature place. Again, not saying Ripple XRP. If I meet someone and I talk to them about crypto and they say, you know what, that stuff's kind of scammy, I don't really want to touch it, good. I do not blame them. I understand their thinking. Where I have a problem with it, though, is that somebody in cryptocurrency specifically says, oh, no, XRP, that's scammy. That is where the problem begins for me. Like this recent FUD attack from Jim Cramer and CoinDesk yesterday. That's where the problem begins for me, is when you're already in cryptocurrency and then you just think XRP is a con, scam, bullshit, Ponzi scheme. And it's like, dude, have you read anything besides mainstream media headlines? If you go out of mainstream media headlines and go into the deep, I don't want to say dark, but the deep, bright iceberg at the bottom, dive into these documents, you'll read between the lines, you put the puzzle pieces together that the mainstream media is not spoon feeding to your mouth, you understand there's a bigger picture going on. So again, it's like, yeah, I think I recently went to I did recently go to like a little Thanksgiving party, which like wasn't my family and stuff, it was someone else's family, and then they're asking me what I do for a living, and it's like, just little crypto stuff. I don't want to tell them I'm a YouTuber because then they try to pull up my videos like and play it in front of me, which I really do hate that. And then recently I said like, yeah, I'm in crypto, and they're like, I don't really touch any of that stuff, that's kind of scammy. I'm like, honestly, I understand you. So Rand Nooner here says, fire up the FTX exchange. So this is like his grand master plan to rebuild FTX. Okay, fire up the FTX exchange. You have a problem in the first sentence. There is no exchange. All the money's gone. All the funds are gone. The billions of dollars people deposited and trusted within that exchange. I mean, they should have been stored in an offline wallet. Link in the description. But fire up the FTX exchange. There is no exchange. It's gone. Liquidity's gone. Done. Funds are gone. Doesn't make any sense. Issue a new FTT token. That's like... Do you remember, oh my God, guys, this is some super OG stuff, but do you remember when the BitConnect leaders that like were kind of nameless, faceless, ended up launching like a second BitConnect? Do you guys remember that? I don't know what the hell it was called, but was it BitConnect 2.0 or BitConnect X, or it was something like that, but after the initial BitConnect failed, they tried to start a new one, and yeah, look at where that one is today. Nowhere. So fire up the FTX exchange. No exchange. Issue new FTT token. That's useless. Distribute the token to creditors, depositors. Okay, so the people that FTX owes money to, give them a worthless garbage token that represents nothing. Give the token to the depositors that had, 20, 30K in the exchange and lost it all. Accrue 100% of profits to token holders. I don't even know what that means. What, like staking? It will be the biggest exchange in the world, and users will be made more than whole. This whole tweet is just a steaming lunch bag of garbage. I continue to think that this would be a productive path for parties to explore. I hope that the teams in place will do so. So yeah, clearly the I hope is like, yeah, he does not have the power in his hands anymore. James K. Fillon puts in something very, very intelligent here. The media in Washington need to stop giving SBF a soapbox from which he can whine. This isn't about his feelings or what he wants to do. This is about his fraud. We need to remember that DOJ is building a case and is going to drop a house on this piece of shit. And that's the first time I have seen a swear word from the XRP legal legend, James K. Fillon. That is a passionate tweet right there. So Maxine Waters, who's, blowing the kisses to FBX in those videos, SBF, based on your role as CEO and your media interviews over the past few weeks, it's clear to us that the information you have thus far is sufficient for testimony. And right there, FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried agrees to testify at the U.S. hearing on Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. If there is a live stream, I will be live streaming on the channel. Stay tuned for announcements on Twitter. So he does say, I still do not have access to much of my data, professional or personal. So there is a limit to what I will be able to say, and I won't be as helpful as I'd like. Such a softball answer. But as the committee still thinks it would be useful, I am willing to testify on the 13th and bring a whole truckload of security with you. I'll tell you that. Where are they meeting up in like New York or something? That's a dodgy place, especially if you got a lot of attention on your ass. I'll try to be helpful during the hearing and to shed what light I can on FTX US's insolvency and American customers, pathways that could return value to users internationally. There's no way that's going to happen. What I think led to the crash. Okay, buddy, my own failings. I had thought of myself as a model CEO who wouldn't become lazy or disconnected, which made it much more destructive when I did. I'm sorry. Hopefully people can learn from the difference between who I was and who I could have been. Well, it's, it'd be another story if you just had like a little ICO and, you stole a couple million, but we're talking about several billion here, man. That is life-changing, devastating. I can't even begin to fathom the people that had a majority of their wealth on your platform, and from your careless actions, you swiped it away from them like a ghost in the wind. Their money turned into dust. So I don't care about this, how I'm feeling, and what I did, and the person I was, and who I could have been, and how I feel. Like, it's a problem with I don't know if it's the world or just America, but lately, everything seems to be centered around this, how I feel. How do you feel? Does this make you feel unsafe? Does this make you feel anxious? Who gives a shit how you feel, man? Who gives a shit? Nobody cares. In the wild and nature and, fight or flight survival, sure, feelings mean something, but when you're sitting there, you're buying your $9.50 Starbucks every single day, going on your, $1,300 MacBook, and I mean, you know what I mean? Like I don't even need to finish that sentence. You guys understand that train of thought that I am on, especially as XRP holders. It's just too much of this feeling. I mean, sometimes I am feeling a pump on XRP. That's completely different. Anyways, let's not go too deep on this tangent. Let's keep talking about some stuff. So initially, I did not want to say the name of this at the first minute of the video because I know YouTube, in the first 30 seconds or minute or so, they do have an AI kind of crawl your video and kind of get a feel if there's anything they need to interject on, like age restriction, monetization restriction, and then there's sometimes when you do a topic such as the big event that happened in America in 2001 or flat earth or some other conspiracies, they'll automatically put a little article under your video to make sure people are getting what YouTube wants you to think, right? So the reason that's all, when you see that on a video, a little Wikipedia page linked under it, that's all 100% AI that crawls the first minute in the video, understands the topic, and throws that at the bottom. So this is what I did want to talk about. China's President Xi Jinping to fully utilize the Shanghai Oil and Gas Trading Center platform for oil and gas trade settlement in yuan. Again, things all around the world with currencies are continuing to happen. Dollar debasement potentially happening. The petrodollar, they're throwing freaking price caps on oil. Russia's refusing. Essentially, a lot of the political wars between countries, I'm not talking about actual physical wars, but I'm just saying political wars between countries, it all is going to come back down to one thing. It's going to be currencies and the things that back those currencies. And again, in China, don't want to show any footage because if you guys have ever seen that YouTube channel called China Uncensored with Cripps Chapel, I kind of tune into that pretty frequently, a couple times a month, just to get my little daily dose of what's going on over there. There are some gigantic protests going on right now in the capital city and other neighboring very, very dense cities because with the woevity-bovity stuff, they have been absolutely overreaching in the control of the people over this. And then I did not read this from an official mainstream media source, but I did hear this from one of my Korean friends who lived in Beijing for 2 years. And he told me, again, this is not, I don't have any article for this, but he told me, because he's still, after living in China in 2 years, he still is on the WeChat app and the Chinese Twitter and things like that. He told me that China, as a result of the protests, they are now announcing that, we are not declaring an emergency over woevity-bovity anymore. We're just gonna live our normal lives and just treat it like it's the flu. So that's what I heard. So again, all around the world, politically, socially, currency, a lot of things are changing. A lot of things are getting shaken up. Last little bit of news for you guys today, just a little general crypto relation. This comes from Fortune.com. Surprised they're not charging me or trying to advertise like a paywall on me or something. This looks like the website that would do so. Bitcoin miners took on billions in debt to pump their stock, leading to a crypto catastrophe. The phones just won't stop ringing, beams Zach Bradford, the CEO of Bitcoin mining company CleanSpark, and not to mention that that little SEC working with that one crypto mining company, helping them get a little setup in the U.S. Never forget what the SEC does. Speaking of the SEC, found this little gem here. Again, I don't have like the stuff and articles to back this up, but apparently, coming from Twitter here, right down there on November 2020, Gary Gensler confirmed as leader of the Financial Policy Transition Team. FTX gets the sudden explosion here. And the reason why this chart looks kind of weird is because this is called Heikin Ashi. Clearly Japanese word. These candlestick charts were invented by Japanese rice traders, by the way. Very interesting. But the Heikin Ashi charts, I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly and everything about it, but the reason why it looks so much more different and connected is that it's based on averages and not like pinpoint movements in between, time frames and things like that. But just, I don't know, maybe all one big coincidence, but I do not like to believe in coincidences here. Back to the last topic of the video. This is these Bitcoin mining companies, going down the gutter. And I got a very stern opinion about mining because I did have a gigantic, for me personally, a gigantic mining rig because of 12 graphics cards. I'm going to explain why I don't really like the mining game anymore after I got out like 2 years ago. So having always sold 70% of the Bitcoin it mined using mostly cheap nuclear energy, CleanSpark is in the enviable position of being rich enough to swoop in to buy box-fresh, top-of-the-line machines from near-bankrupt miners at sensible prices. Why are miners going bankrupt? This is why I don't recommend people get into the mining game. If you're going to mine crypto, which I mean with Ethereum going away, God, like mining is completely dead right now. I think it'll bounce back one day for GPUs on some other like leading coin that pumps, but for now it's just in the gutter and with Bitcoin as well. And the number one reason why I don't like mining is because the big money in mining, very, very temporary here, okay? Very, very temporary. I mean, I'm talking the time runs out because the thing is with crypto mining, this, dollar with the circle represents a time. Oh my God, wow. Ethereum, holy crap, 1,000 a coin. The next month, 2,000 a coin. The next month, or the next week, 3,000 a coin. All of a sudden, this is the big money. And then you get all these people that were, originally involved. They're reaping the, $10, $20 a day per graphics card. And then all of a sudden, everyone else sees the big money and they buy equipment and all them. They start piling in. And then essentially, kind of the paradox of it getting popular and pumping and everyone piling in, all these people end up making less money. And after the run's over, what happens? All the people that piled in, price ends up going down. They get screwed even worse. They are left holding the hardware. Honestly, guys, mining, it's fun. You should, I think, at some point in the future, if you have the disposable income to do so, I would try it. It's a very fun process, especially if you're solo mining, which is like playing a lottery every second. It's a fun game, but don't go too balls deep into mining because when people get into mining, it's when like the mineable coins are doing this, and everyone gets in right here with all the hardware. Everyone's diluting all the profits up here, and once that big drop comes in, everyone's got the same hardware. Everyone's still kind of mining, but the profits are literally nothing down here as they were right here. So big lesson today with mining. Like at one point, the graphics card I have sitting for the computer right here, the 3090 Ti, subtle flex, or not anymore because the 4090 just came out, so this is like obsolete. But this 3090 Ti, back when Ethereum was at all-time highs, the RTX 3090, like I'm talking peak Shiba Inu because the Shiba Inu was an Ethereum token. During the peak Shiba Inu time, because it was on the Ethereum network, it had to, pay Ethereum transaction fees to move the Shiba Inu tokens. I'm talking peak Shiba Inu tokens. This one graphics card that I have in my possession right now at that time was producing anywhere from $30 to $33 per day. And of course, it only happened here. That $30 a day was only there. Then it goes back down. Then it's, $10 a day, then $8 a day, and then $3 a day. And then Ethereum just scratches mining completely, and it's just gone. Done. Killed. Boom. Little gun there. Oh, might be, too sensitive for YouTube. I don't know, man. World's crazy. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video today. Would appreciate it. See you guys in the next one.